back on TSM, that he wasn't very aggressive either. He was just getting vision down, and he was almost invisible. And I actually kind of want to see, you know, by contrast to the Sightstone jungler, what Santorin actually looks like.
Yeah, it's really strange because Santorin's career, when you follow him and you go back to Cloud9 Eclipse and you go back to those days, like, he was rather aggressive. He was one of the first people to pick up Nidalee jungle even before it had the whole rooting on traps, and he just really enjoyed that playstyle. He could farm really heavily, and then he could just have an advantage over the enemy jungler. And I go back to when TSM won IEM. He had amazing performances on Lee Sin and Vi. So he can play these aggressive junglers, and he can actually be a fantastic team fighter.
Yeah.
It's just sometime in TSM, it just looks like they didn't want him to play. They didn't want to play around the jungle ever, right? You had these laners that you wanted to play around. You're like Wild Turtle, and then you have Bjergsen. It's like, why would we want to play around the jungle, right? It's not
you have
Gardok,
Bjergsen.
right?
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we'll see what style comes out here because, of course, Ember have been kind of continually changing their play styles. Contracts, their former jungler, was kind of the hard carry for most of the regular season, and of course him being too young to play in the promo tournament or in most of the summer season of the LCS, they've decided to switch out rosters now, play the playoffs with Santorin, and you know, seeing what kind of play Ember goes for will be interesting to me because it's the first time we're seeing that lineup. Of course, similar for TDK here, we've shaped a lot of their things differently. Kez will not get Nidalee. Kog'Maw off the table. This is 6.4, so Kog'Maw has those slight nerfs on him, but of course, 6.5 isn't even live for North America right yet, so basically it's live for everyone else.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because
6.5 comes out tomorrow morning.
No, we missed a week because Is this the first Riot tournament on 6.4?
Unless EU Challenger happened this morning?
It did, that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so first NA Riot event on 6.4, not called solo queue. Here we go, into Champion Select, of course. You can see the bans on your screen. First pick Poppy was pretty much insta-locked by TDK right there. That the Poppy nerfs from like 6.2 haven't done much to her. Braum Kindred actually is interesting to me that it was rushed so quickly because there's a lot of AD carries up. Braum I understand, but Kindred a bit more rare. Yeah,
Kindred is rather rare, especially since you could just play Janna into it like Trance is going to do here, but you could also play Gragas into it, which I'm a little surprised that Kez didn't go for.
Right.
Elise is pretty much the Kez special.
Yeah.
Which is really strange because he's a Vision jungler, but it's a pick champion, so maybe he denies Vision and that's how he gets those picks.
Well, we'll see if he can get his way in there and get his laners ahead because TDK now playing with two different solo lanes is going to be interesting to watch for. It is the solo lanes we had seen from Renegades before. Flares had a couple of good Rise games way back when, a couple of mediocre ones. Again, this team does have RF Legendary on the bench. They wanted Flares over him, at least for this match. We'll see if that swaps around later on in the series. And of course, Dragon Knight's going to wait on their mid lane pick. However, by picking Poppy so early, it means that Ember can counterpick both lanes. They go Nautilus top into the Poppy. Ezreal AD carry for Lot, no surprise, and they will let Golden Glue counterpick Alex Ich. So TDK allowing top lane to get counterpicked, but they wanted first pick Poppy to make sure that was still there.
Yeah, Poppy is really strong in the top lane, but if I want to talk about top lane strength, it has to be Nautilus.
Right.
You go to champion.gg and you go look at Nautilus's counters, only one champion has above a 50% win rate, and it's Kayle.
Yeah, because Kale's also ridiculous.
That's it. That's the only one. And you go down counters, it's like 5 down, it's like a 63% win rate champion for Nautilus. It's like, that's not a counter.
No.
Nothing really beats Nautilus in lane currently.
Yeah.
There's only really Kayle that can bully him, and then you have to kind of dig really deep to find a champion that can deal with him in the top lane.
We'll see how well they can do with the Poppy, though, in the matchup, of course, as we get ourselves through the rest of picks and bans. I actually really like Caitlyn Janna or Soraka Caitlyn as well. Just one of those nice sort of passive supports for the AD carry, but just kind of to allow Caitlyn to push constantly and just be the turret pressure menace that she is. And that will be here. So OQ on the Caitlyn. Lissandra comes through as the mid lane pickup for Alex Ich. So honestly, a nice mix of heavy aggression, disengage, and just siege ability here with the Caitlyn there that really locks the team together. They needed some kind of persistent threat. They have it now on Team Dragon Knights. So a bit more of a slow-paced team, but certainly I think what can be considered a strong composition.
Yeah, it's pretty strong all around. You have your engage, you have your pick, you have your disengage, you have your poke, you have your wave clear. So it's really just looking for if Kez can deny vision and they can set up picks with Kez and Alex each and try to make that jungle mid lane combo work, then this team composition will definitely turn on and it'll be really great. But you do have to watch out for what Ember's going to pick here in this last pick, because if you pick something that's very disengagey, that's very siege heavy, can break siege like a Victor or something like that, then it could be really hard to actually get in, especially since you have the Janna support.
Absolutely. So last few picks for Ember, they were hovering onto Orianna, but actually switched that in for Karma mid lane here for Golden Glue. Interesting to watch this one come out. Yeah, so a very utility-focused mid lane, and kind of pulling out that it's now a double marksman team with not a lot of damage elsewhere. Nautilus can do some, Karma can do some. They're not pushovers, certainly. You're not playing like Braum mid or anything, but still, lower damage in the solo lanes, really focus on Santorin and Lod to do all the damage against TDK, who are going for a steady push with a lot of disengage and some pick potential.
So there's a couple of things here at this Ember squad. You're talking about the damage. Karma can have a pretty large burst, and Nautilus sustained damage from the Riptide is really high in base damage right now. But you also have to consider how long is it going to take TDK to get through Ember. You have the Braum, you have the Karma shields, you have the Nautilus shields and Peel, and then you also have the ultimate from Kindred. So it'll take a long time, and that's the whole idea, right? Is your damage versus their damage, but it's also your damage versus their tankiness, and their damage versus your tankiness. Because if you're just way tankier, it takes so much longer to kill you, and then you've just killed them already. So that's what Ember has to look for here. Yeah,
there's a lot of variables to watch for sort of in the DPS check sort of situations that we're in. And yeah, we'll see if Kindred and Ezreal, who typically, by the way, don't build crit, can eventually be tanked on by Poppy for basically everyone. She gets like a Thorn Mail, it gets really difficult. So that will be interesting to watch. I mentioned it a few times, by the way, but as far as picks and bans are concerned, TDK picked to play blue side every single game, and Ember picked to play red side. So we're actually going to see the same ordering of players every single game, and by choice by both these teams, and it's curious to see, like, is that first pick really valuable for TDK? Poppy for Nautilus doesn't seem like the best trade ever. Meanwhile, of course, Ember wanted to get counterpick every single time, and Karma to put the comp together seemed to be what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that's the thing is when you're picking that side over and over and over again, and you're just going every time blue, and the other team's like, well, every time red. And of course it's blind. They don't know that the other team has actually selected that side.
Yeah.
So they just get sent, oh, by the way, you're blue every game. It's like,
you both agreed on what was the optimal strategy for pick and ban.
Yeah, and now you get to test it.
Yeah, which means, by the way, only one of you are right. Like, as far as the sort of game theory goes, like,
that's true.
Blue side is better for one of the two teams by comparison. Just that's how things work this way. And they both thought that TDK is like, yeah, blue side is the better side for us. We don't want to be red side. And Ember's like, yeah, red side's better for us. We don't want to be blue. One of these teams is right, and one of these teams helped the other one by picking the sides that way.
That's definitely true. And what they're valuing here is the counter pick for Golden Glue, because they're pretty much going to last pick for Golden Glue every single game.
I mean, they can counter pick for top lane as well. It just happened that Poppy was first picked already.
That's the thing is I think the TDK are going to first pick top every game.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Poppy, and then maybe if they lose this game, they're just going to first pick Nautilus.
Okay.
I think that's what's going to happen in this series is first pick Nautilus will eventually come out, or it'll just stay first pick Poppy. But I do think that they're going to counter for Golden Glue pretty much every time. Like, Golden Glue versus Alex Each, you really want that edge there. Whereas Solo versus Flares, I think Solo is a confident player, and I think he thinks that he can take Flares regardless of matchup.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's going to be interesting to watch for to see how these players actually do. Of course, when Ember did play on the LCS stage, when they subbed in for primarily Echo Fox, they weren't the prettiest of games. They had a couple of pretty close ones. There was the near victory over Team Liquid way back when, so like there are things here, but Flares has actually, played like a full season in the LCS, and to be fair, his LCS performances weren't great, to be honest. He did much better in Challenger than he did on the LCS stage. But sort of seeing how these players grow and what they look like later on in the year or the next year and whatnot is kind of what it comes up to. Ember, of course, have invested so heavily in their infrastructure, you expect that their growth is faster.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. Solo was not a player I would have expected to beat Flares in lane last year in Challenger.
Exactly. And that's something that I love about Ember is I'm actually watching their players grow because they're being invested in. Right? The plants are basically being watered and given plant food, where sometimes if you don't have that infrastructure, you're not giving them exactly what they need, right? You have psychologists coming in, you have coaches, multiple analysts, you have people who are helping them grow, and they're also in an environment where the team is actually they're doing so many things together, right? Like they work out together. There was that video where they're working with Swayze, of course. That means nothing to everybody else, but
yeah. Very strong man.
Very, very strong man.
Works at Riot is very strong.
He'll kick your butt.
He will.
But anyway, so they do a lot of things together. They build the friendship. They build the teamwork. And that's something that other teams where it's like, we're not in a team house together. We don't have familiarity with each other. It doesn't really breed that type of cohesion. And that's what Ember's been going for. And it's not just that team level. It's the individual level.
Sure.
I think Golden Glue is actually the best we've seen him yet.
I totally agree. I think he's been steadily improving over time. And so we'll see as time goes on if Ember turns into a roaring fire or if Team Dragon Knights can squash that here and remove the torches. So you guys at home, let us know who's going to win this one. Best of 5. We're getting ourselves into game 1 here. Tweet at LOL Esports with hashtag TDK win or hashtag MBR win for which of these teams is going to start the series out 1-0. But this best of 5 means who is going into the LCS promotion tournament, who is entering the postseason prematurely. Here we go into game 1, TDK versus Ember.
Yep, you win this best of 5, you are immediately in the promotion tournament. Of course, only 2 teams from Challenger make it into the promotion tournament. It's no longer 3. There's no 3rd, 4th place match. It's just 1 and 2. And of course, the finals actually mean a lot. If you get number 1, then you are actually skipping a best of 5. If you get number 2, you have to play an elimination best of 5 against the 10th place LCS team. And whoever loses that doesn't go into the double elimination bracket.
Right, yeah. Winning the finals is a really huge deal. It basically doubles, if you're just rolling dice for who wins, it doubles your odds of actually making it into the LCS.
But of course, Riot Games does not sponsor gambling in any way.
No.
Just by going to Las Vegas.
I'm just saying if every team had a 50% chance to win, that's what it would actually mean for you, is you remove 1 hurdle. So, beginning of the game has begun, of course. Looking at the various lane assignments, Ember are looking to actually kind of shift back and forth in the fog of war here. As, they're going to be heading their duo lane to the top side. They, of course, spotted to see that there were no deep wards placed at all by TDK. TDK have simply put their own line of scrimmage wards down and are simply going to wait around and do Krugs as their Elise and Poppy start the jungle in a very normal fashion. So regular lanes opted by TDK, standard jungling starts as well. And Ember will walk by Vision trying to stop this, which will prompt TDK to skedaddle out of that side of the map. Triggered over the wall, no one's on Wolves. They'll probably check the Gromp as well and see that nothing is happening. And probably take the part of the blue buff.
Yep.
They should take part of the blue buff. They didn't.
Nope. Oh,
there we go.
He heard you. But I do actually think that this was really good by Ember because you don't want to go into that matchup of a Caitlyn and Janna versus an Ezreal.
Yeah, you don't get to do anything there.
It's really rough early on.
No, it's not good for you.
Avoid the Caitlyn. TDK, what they ended up doing is they put out these wards throughout the river so that you couldn't get lane swap wards. That's usually, that's when you see people fan out as 5, is they want to stop lane swap wards coming in, and they want to be able to get counter lane swap wards if it does happen. But usually that's how you stop it, and that's what TDK did, and Ember just went for the blind swap.
Blind swap, of course, happened. Ember did actually manage to clear their entire bot side jungle, by the way, with no interruptions, actually. So I gotta say, there was only 1 jungle quadrant allowed for the TDK duo, or the duo jungle, I should say, and then there's nothing else for Kez to take. He has nothing but Scuttle Crab left up in the map. Meanwhile, there are literally 7 camps available for Santorin on his safe side of the map right now. So the turrets will trade equally, but we should expect to see much better jungle farm come out for Ember before too terribly long.
Yeah, and that was mostly OQ and Trance wanted to do Gromp at the start, or Krugs at the start, so they couldn't actually invade on the Gromp and Wolves.
Yep.
Since it was a blind swap and they ended up finding out later on, then they couldn't really abort the plan.
Yeah, but that's why you do what Ember did, where you invaded, you show up slightly late to the lane, but you make sure that nothing happened bad.
Yep.
Flares will be donated solo gold in this turret, but actually this turret has a lot of health left. He's gonna have a hard time killing this. Yeah, he might actually execute. Wow.
Oh, 3 HP!
Well, Team Dignitas... I actually didn't even mean to say Team Dignitas. TDK did learn from Team Dignitas, though, in terms of what happened there. Flares, of course, did not die. It does, however, mean that bot lane is not going to be an easy freeze. Ember killing this turret later doesn't actually matter. It will not hurt them in any meaningful way. Solo actually will have rough. It'll be 1 auto attack. It'll be fine. Yeah, he's going to be okay. Breaks the shield. No big deal. Easy freeze built there for Ember. And you're seeing already a 400 gold lead for Ember because of how much more jungle could have been cleared by Santorin. Just their overall efficiency here.
Ooh, OQ's walking up, and there's 3 people on the side of him. He might be in trouble.
We see what's happening with the top
OQ?
side of the map. Yeah, OQ is in a bad spot. Wow, the anchor hits him! Went in for the lane, but there were people ready to fight him off. First blood, Ember.
Wow, and OQ just shows up, walks straight down a long lane without any coverage because they wanted to go for the lane swap back to just fast push turrets down. But they didn't have the proper people there. Flares is still trying to push out bottom lane because the freeze was bad. Usually you'll bring your top laner up there too to just reverse the whole map.
And well, that reversal did not quite happen just yet here. Ember feeling pretty good on a 700 gold lead here. Kez still stuck at level 3 to Santorin's level 4. You got to feel pretty good for Ember right here, starting out the series quite strongly.
There's a great adaptation.
Yeah.
That's thinking on the fly there, because a lot of teams will get stuck in, this is how we do lane swaps. Okay. Oh, wait, he messed up. Okay, well, let's just keep doing our lane swap and eventually it'll show. But this was, okay, they messed up, we're going to punish them, and recognizing how to punish them.
Flash out attack by stun was pretty huge.
Yeah, that was big. Getting the stun off there. Making sure that the Braum passive goes off, and that's OQ going down. And then Ember.
And that's why you put that deep trinket ward down, by the way, where they had, is sometimes these plays happen where he didn't have his team around him at all, and just Ember did not recall very quickly. It did mean that a lot of minions did crash into the turret. Like, Flares had a CS lead over Solo for quite a while because there was no one down in that lane, but of course it does not make up for the kill. Definite lead here for Ember off some great early game plays. Kez looking to continue the vision game. Raptor buff is on, puts a ward over the wall, clears with pink.
And this is where I think a jungler like Kez definitely struggles when his team is behind this early on in the game, because he'll slowly get choked out of his own points of vision.
Right.
And just the advantages are not there to even advance a ward line.
Yeah.
And that becomes a slow bleed for the team. And it's up to Ember to pretty much just push the game, gain the momentum, because TDK, I want to see how much they fight back with Kez's shot calling, because that has always been in question.
Well, they definitely have the tools to get in there. Again, they have great siege power with this Caitlyn. If she can get back ahead in lane, OQ can definitely do some good things. Takes Q to the face, jumps away. Gianna's shield means he really doesn't take any meaningful damage here. Interesting trance. Actually went for early boots on his purchase. I don't see that very often, especially because Sightstone is pretty important. I'm not sure what the Gianna's going to do with the extra move speed, but really minor stuff overall. Mid lane is actually going to be exactly equal. 52 CS will be what Alex gets in a second. Golden Glue has the exact same number and has recalled back for the pieces of an Abyssal Scepter. Not a surprise that both mid laners will be running for that as mid-range mage versus mage champions. Solo steps on Ragdoll Poppy's shield.
Is it a pillow? I think it's a pillow.
Makes sense, actually. I actually don't know, because I actually don't play Ragdoll Poppy.
I think they're all actually just a golden Aegis now.
No, because Lollipoppy is like a bar of chocolate. It's still golden, but it looks like a bar of chocolate.
I don't play it either. I just stick with Battle Regalia.
Okay. That's why you didn't know about the sweet Lollipoppy skin.
Nah. I'm troll, but I'm not that troll.
You should always be that troll, let's be real here. This is bad on you to not do that skin. I mean, that's just the incorrect choice.
It just doesn't look good. Skin is about cosmetic.
And trolliness. Come on, you're playing video games. Trolliness is like one of the two most important factors when playing. Why do you think I talk about Teemo so much? I don't even play him.
God, you're revealing.
I mean, let's be fair. I didn't look at my profile and realize I've played one game in the last year and a half.
That's true. Yeah, you're talking about video games and trolling. I'm just thinking back to, like, powering up Heroin and just being like, random character. It's like, oh god, he's so ugly, but I love it.
Exactly. Put face straps my undead rogue. It was terrible. And a green mohawk.
Oh my god.
It was abysmal.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you either make your character look really awesome or
dumb.
really ridiculous. I think I was playing like Warhammer Age of Reckoning, and I actually got mad because there was a witch hunter that you can dye different parts of your armor in that, and he made himself look like a damn clown.
That's amazing!
He's got like a bright yellow hat, he's got like a purple shirt, and his pants are like bright green, and he just like two-shots me.
That's perfect.
Great.
Yeah, see? You're welcome. That's what you're supposed to have happening. Santorin, level 6, got the stack up the... Oh, I didn't kill that one, but yeah, gets the stack off the...
Scuttle Crab?
Scuttle Crab, thank you. Rift Scuttler, I believe is the official name.
That's true. It was originally called Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, it was. Iceborne Gauntlet was called Frozen Fist.
Yeah. And that's why they actually stick, because it's like, it was never called that outside of release.
But sometimes they're catchy names.
Yeah, I think the story behind the Rift Scuttler is...
sometimes they're on PvE as well.
That's true. I think the story behind Rift Scuttler is the designer eventually was just like, right before release, you know what? It's got to be the Rift Scuttler. It can't be the Scuttle Crab. That's too cute. It's too cute.
Okay.
It's a serious crab.
It is a pretty serious crab. It dodges skill shots better than most players in League of Legends.
True.
I'm pretty sure Scuttle Crab would be like Gold 5.
That's true.
If it could play solo queue. Lee Sin would never insec him. But we are, of course, in a game with Ember playing a slow and steady game as they remain 1,500 gold up. They've actually steadily grown the lead. I mean, the turret kills are equal. There's a first blood, and there's another 1,000 gold from Ember, winning in the farm game significantly in pretty much all these matchups. Laud using the first blood gold to basically afford an extra cull on top of the tier, and the extra stats have helped him just slowly be slightly stronger than he would have been in the laning phase. OQ falling a little bit behind in farm. And Solo, to be fair, actually is beating his lane matchup by increasing amounts over time. Attempted steal on the Dragon, not like it happened. Santorin taking a lot of damage. He's got to be real careful. Has to self-ult, barely gets it in time, spites it away. He will heal up, but LCS could do plenty of damage. The ulti comes in. There's the kill by Kez. Nicely played here, and Solo's going to be next. Has to flash away at 100 health. Almost gets repelled upon. They still want this one. Look at that damage out of Golden Glue. The root is on. Can't quite kill it. Has to flash away from the claw. LCS nearly claims that kill. TDK gets one finally on the board and trade for Dragon.
Well, the Dragon is actually worth a little bit more in this case than normal because because Santorin has Devourer. I don't agree with it, but he's Devourer Kindred right now. So 5 stacks, worth it at that point. But they give over 1 kill for that, and that's TDK getting a little bit more back into this game, and you were seeing how aggressive they were trying to be off of capitalizing on the position. Flares went in for the Poppy stun, right? He's actually making a proactive plays here and showing why they first picked this champion. It's because it's going to enable Flares to do things, and he has to fill in the shoes of Seraph, who was always doing things.
Who was always doing things, absolutely.
I like to judge people by participation points. It's like, Phreak's died 10 times. Well, he's doing things.
Yeah, I'm involved in a lot of things. It's called action score.
Yeah, that, exactly. And so hits him against the wall, doesn't want to give him a chance to use Lamb's Respite, but
if it was a one-shot, if he gets to cast.
Yeah, it was so close. Basically, sub 100 HP, and then that bought some time. If he had gone down immediately, they would have been able to focus Solo down, and then Solo would have died there as well. Goodbye, Kez pull off. And that Q, if that had hit Golden Glue, it would have extended the range, and it would have killed Solo.
Yeah. Well, Ember continuing to play the stat game as fast as they possibly can. This time he's around his duo lane, though the Ezreal is recalling. But he should be totally safe. Stunned, and Santorin can take this down pretty safely here, and Ember really not missing a beat as Santorin continues to stack up on this Devourer, currently sitting at 14 stacks.
And he's got 2 stacks, so stacks on stacks.
Oh yeah, from his character passive.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was Mark of the Kindred. So we'll be keeping track of both stacks.
Yes, we will.
We hope. When it hits 30, we can stop with one of them.
Yeah. So there's a couple things I want to talk about in as far as Ember's choices go. But first I'm going to talk about Golden getting hit by LCS. There's the root, there's the ulti as well. He's got nowhere to go. Goodbye. LCS, beautiful setup right there. Kez and Trance coming in to make sure that happened. Nice pickup. TDK now winning in kills. Still suffering, though, from a 900 gold deficit.
Yep. Of course, they're being played around the map a little bit better, but TDK, they're becoming more and more proactive, and that's definitely what you want to see with this squad. The Elise for Kez, comfort pick, right? It's definitely his meta comfort pick because he also really likes playing Evelynn, but it's not that great at the moment. So that alongside Alex Ich, and like I said, if they get that pick synergy down between the two of them, they can create a large advantage for Alex. He can take over the game.
He can. OQ, some nice damage in a stunt. Blocks it off with the shield. Barely even notices his health bar went down, such as Brahm's life. Practically immune to small arms fire. He's going to be okay. Kez walked into the top lane, found nothing to do there. Kind of a waste of time, actually, to show up in that spot.
Yeah, immune to that small arms fire. He's just got gigantic biceps.
Yeah. His guns are way bigger than Caitlyn's. So I want to go back to what I was talking about a second ago. Ember's choices in this game. There were 2 that I thought were very important. So one is they went for a dragon while their dual lane was still top. And it's because I think they want to keep the match lanes. They don't want to let the Caitlyn composition get that injection of tower gold.
Yes.
If you're already winning in gold, play standard matchups so you can abuse your lead in actual 2-on-2 or 1-on-1 combat so that can grow. Because all of this Ember lead is from farm. Purely it's from farm.
This is a little strange, though, because if they stay in that top matchup and TDK just keeps their dual lane top, then they're eventually going to get that turret, unless they get ganked multiple times. Of course, they do have more ground that needs to be covered with vision behind them on TDK's side because they can be flanked.
Yeah.
But they seem very comfortable, especially the fact that they have double TP, whereas Ember doesn't.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Ezreal's a much, much slower turret pressure than a Janna Caitlyn.
Yes.
So if you even get to a base 3 situation, you fall behind very quickly. So I think all these choices are very smart. It also slows the game down and allows the Devourer to stack up. And on the point of Devourer, again, this is a double marksman team with a bunch of supports on either side. The tank top laner, support mid laner, they need damage output. Santorin has to be one of the carries of this team, and so going for a greedier start where he's going to farm really hard and get a lot of damage out of that with his character passive as well. I think both those things I think are very intelligent in understanding the context of the game they're in. the way the champ selects sort of interact, and I think both of those were very smart choices.
Something's got to happen top. This is too low of a turret and too low of a member there. There's the TP, and Kez is here too.
Match teleport, Laud flashes away, gets under the shield. Stunt stays alive for now. Flares, though, gets the knockback into the wall. Turn back around, Kez gets the assassination, and Stunt's like, whoa, guys, I'm kind of alone here. Who can help me out with this one? Solo walks in, turret aggro dropped by OQ, got a little bit of the damage. Burst down, mid laner now coming up as well, and here's more burst on a Stunt. Ulti block still goes under the Flares Q. 2 kills again, gained by TDK on the dive. Beautiful stuff.
That turret was just getting so low, of course you're going to dive it. They were poking them out over and over again. I was very surprised that the junglers were not moving top immediately, because that was pretty much just blood in the water for Sharks.
Yeah. And, I mean, Kez was there, right? This is, hey, turret's down to 1/3. This is going to be going down if anyone ever ganks this. This needs to be a priority. And, well, TDK prioritized it better. They're ahead in gold.
Santorin's route right here, because this is very obvious in what's going on the opposite side of the map. And Santorin's on the complete bottom end. You don't need to be near that one-on-one lane when this is happening to your top lane, and they're slowly, perpetually losing this top lane turret because you know they're going to pull the trigger and they're going to dive.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a really bad teleport as well. Santorin's on the bot side. This is at best a 3v4. Just push bot outer. Let the dual lane die, have them run away, hope one of them lives, and trade turrets for this one. I think a big mistake by Ember. Of course, a great play by TDK. Kez being there. Immediate TP by Flares. Good job by them. Good aggressive play.
Exactly. They saw the opportunity, and also Alex was hanging off on the wings, making sure that if only Golden Glue had run through that bush, he would have been able to possibly assassinate him and put some burst down, delay him arriving. So he actually just walked in the bush, and it looked like he was going to roam all the way up there and put some pressure onto that mid lane and changed his route, made him have to take a little bit of longer way.
Right, and Alex saved his teleport. He has the summoner spell. He can use it if he needs to, but was able to push, was able to walk, and Alex made very good choices there. So, good stuff by TDK. They're going to move on towards Dragon right here. It might have been down at the time.
I think it was certainly a couple more seconds.
Okay, fine. Either way, it's back up now, and either way, Alex was just fine there. Dragon has gone down basically right now. TDK now in control, and the question is, where do they now send OQ? 146 CS is a lot. He's got the Infinity Edge. He can be the guy that starts battering these turrets down, and the question is, how do they allocate him?
Of course, both AD carries went through their culls already very early on after lane swap. So seeing how they get allocated here, because OQ, I'm very interested to see what he does with this Caitlyn when he has his traps maxed, because I'm always very fascinated by that. I think there's a very optimal way to play Caitlyn in the sieging and the disengaging with certain trap placements, but he seemed very sporadic with his in that top lane. He wasn't putting them in rows. He was kind of putting him in choke points and then just putting them randomly around.
See, let's go about OQ. He stopped at 3 points Q. He's maxing traps
early.
Oh my
god!
He's got 4 points in traps level 9. He's going to max it by 10.
God!
I love this so much.
That's awesome.
By TDK. Understanding when the comp turns online, timing the ability levels up roughly properly, maxed by level 10, and here they go. A level 9 Caitlyn, 4 points in traps, almost level 10 already. Mid lane's under fire. Golden Glue's trapped. He's at half health. Okay, he shields up, so he's not at half health. Yeah, had to pop Cleanse to get away from all this. Look how low this turret is.
Yeah, as soon as you start getting a tiny advantage, I love that he just went over. He's like, okay, I have enough wave clear with my Piltover Peacemaker being rank 3 and enough harass. Throw down the traps. The traps will help you if you have more of them to even get full damage Peacemakers on champions. So that's really awesome. And that's going to help them out. He's going to hit 10. He's going to be able to throw down multiple traps, and he's going to be able to just cut off choke points. That's really good because this is a pick comp.
Trapped enemies take 266 extra damage from headshot. That's a lot of pain to put into someone at 18 minutes where there's no completed major items on anyone but a Sunfire Cape. This is going to be a bit scary. Ember, thankfully, build armor on pretty much all these champions. Sunfire Cape and part of a Frozen Heart there for Nautilus already. Iceborne Gauntlet in for Ezreal. Some of these guys can withstand a bit of this Caitlyn damage, but it's still going to be difficult.
So he actually split points. Hit 10, put a point in Q.
What? That surprised me a little
bit. So he's 4 and 4. Okay. Does he skip the second rank of his ultimate?
No. No. I actually, thing is, traps have a better level up on the odd levels. I'm actually very surprised he stopped at 4. That to me is actually, I think, just very strange. I'm sure he has reasons for it.
There's a big wave here, and here comes Golden Glue and Santorin.
Fair bit of damage down on the bottom lane. Kez juking back and forth, trying to take too much damage. But yes, an out-rotation by Ember. They've knocked down the bottom outer turret, once again tying the gold lead back up. Kez has to flash away from the root. Oki trying to get some damage in, and here comes the teleports from everybody. Brommel hits a few, but in goes Alex Sitch, self-will to buy some time. Solo stuck in the front line, taking a whole lot of punishment, flashes away. Brom shield is back up to keep Lod alive, but the health bars are dropping down. Trance with a big heal, keeping the team afloat. And it's going to be Ember forced to retreat away, giving map control over to TDK. Ember did get the turret, but are now worse for wear.
Yep, nobody dies though, and it's even in gold. So everybody gets to take a little bit of a breath. You blew some summoner spells. Now figure out who are you going to put pressure on next. Alex, he used his TP and his flash there to try and make a play, and I think that he's definitely pickable. You can definitely catch him out. And also, Alex, I want to see what he does with these flanks, because he did a good job in that game in the LCS where he got Renegades their second win with Lissandra.
Yeah.
With the flanks. So I want to see if he's able to pull that off here and kind of replace what Seraph was doing for the squad. And then it's almost kind of plug and play, and you can play just around that like you would have Seraph.
Right now, Flair's 1-0-2 has got to be honestly pretty solid. His teleports were on point. His phase was not great, but it was serviceable. He didn't lose his turret to Solo. And that Poppy's working out for him. TDK now rotating to the mid lane to hold this push from Lod. And it looks like all the resources from Ember have been sent to the mid lane.
I will say, though, it's only one game, but TDK, they look like this trade's working out for them a bit here. And they have strength where they need it.
So far, so good. A great engage by Flares knocks up the team. They want in on a stunt, who's nearly out of health. Flares drop low as well, and down goes the kill. Great ulti by Alex Sitch to pick off the Braum. Now has to get away. They'll get sniped out by Lod. A 1-for-1. Flares in the back line taking damage from Solo, but he's getting shields from Janna to stay alive. So it looks like, yes, Flares just slowly losing health, but still gets shielded. Solo does not have the DPS. Now Trance had to flash away, but the damage is there. Golden Glue picking up the second kill of the fight. Finally an advantage for Ember. It took him so long to get something going well.
He's going to try to get OQ here. OQ doesn't have mana.
What an anchor by Solo into the damage, into the kill. Beautiful stuff. What a skill shot by Solo.
No 90 caliber net available at that point, and no flash. They're going to be able to push up this wave, and they actually have a very good team at destroying turrets. Double AD carry, Ezreal gives attack speed to everybody. Pretty easy at that point. Kez.
And Golden Glue even shields the minion to tank one more auto attack, and that means the turret does go down. Ember, the first team to knock down all three outer turrets, and that puts them back in the lead. 1,500 up. Down a kill, but up a ton of farm.
Yeah. We talked about how Flares has a lot of action points. This one was too much action. You can see OQ's not here yet. Flashes in, knocks up 3. Now OQ's finally here, but Flares is already chunked out because Alex still had to catch up. Trance still had to catch up. Alex ends up killing Stunt and almost Santorin, but then OQ flashes forward, but Santorin gets the ultimate off.
He just can't do enough damage to the back line.
Yeah, and at that point, OQ's just running around saying, well, I don't have any mana left, and now this has been going off on the side. No wall stun there either. And they were just trying to just kite Nautilus around, kite Solo around in this little area off to the side. But of course, when you get to the point where Nautilus is now on your side of the map, you start running up right into the rest of the shot. That was nice.
That was a miscoordination, though. If OQ had just come down and helped the rest of the team kill Nautilus, that would be a 2-for-1 in TDK's favor. That's the first evidence I'm seeing of, like, the true language problem of, like, this is a team fight coordination mistake by TDK. OQ should have been fighting the bottom side of that fight.
Yeah. Well, he flashed forward, too, to try and kill Santorin with an unexpected kill, and he got the ultimate off.
I guess I can understand the choice, but
it's a bit of a gamble.
Would have been in a better spot doing something else. Trance has, in fact, kind of continued the trend of Janna's not going for Frost Queen's claim, and instead is going for the Eye of the Watchers, the 4-stack Sightstone version of Frostfang, and we're seeing that more and more over time, but really the 4 wards are incredibly useful as support. You just find that you need that quite a lot, and it's overall cheaper than going all the way to Frost Queen's claim as well, so you can push your build forward. He will be going for early Captain Boots, which I like a lot, and also the Aegis as the next item as he slowly acquires gold on Janna.
Exactly. And now Flare's pushing the bottom lane. Flare's has TP. They're able to get it out for nothing.
Yeah, teleport used to defend the turret. That honestly, the wave was basically clear. The next wave was really far away, but teleport used regardless. Alex Sitch's teleport is up still, so it's still each team holding 1 teleport per side. Scuttle taken down by Santorin. He's got to feel good about this. sitting now on 3 stacks on Mark of the Kindred, it looks like. They're not getting there very quickly. He's not marked the right targets for team fights, but that's always hard to predict, so understandable.
I'm not really a huge fan of the Ember draft the more I look at it.
Really?
Yeah. The karma and the fact that that's your magic damage source. You were talking about it before. They have a decent amount of magic damage, but
should you armor stack into
I just think Golden Glue's a good enough player that taking him off of something that's going to be really affecting the game and carrying is a mistake.
Okay.
And Santorin going for Devourer.
It's magic damage.
It's magic damage, and then it really relies on how many stacks he's able to get. But he's got 3 stacks at this point. So he hasn't been able to pick up too many scuttles or invade the jungle. And that's really what the Devourer build for Kindred is for, is I have so many stacks that now the nerfed on you, because of course he's a range champion, so it actually takes him a little bit more to, it's every 4th attack.
Yes.
So it's a lot. And he doesn't really build too much more attack speed at this point.
True.
He goes tanky, he goes for like the Maw Sterex build.
Yeah. The midline build, sort of.
Yeah. So I'm looking at just the damage here, and you're really relying on Ember's team to just stay alive a very long time against the pick, and that's what your counter is you're just trying to not get blown up.
Yeah.
But I think that Santorin on something a little more supportive, and Golden Glue on something
more carry-oriented. As if you could play like Karma Jungle in mid Kindred, it would almost work better.
Oh man, flares.
Taking a lot of damage, but he is Poppy, so that damage is going to require a lot more to really make anything happen. Stunt puts up the shield. Doesn't really do much with that one. As ult comes by, it doesn't do much either. And Ember are able to wrest away control of the jungle. That does mean a blue buff steal for them. So that catching of flares helping them out with this one. Invade steals above.
If you're TDK, you try to force something now. Lod doesn't have ultimate, Stunt doesn't have his ultimate, and you have everything.
Yeah.
You don't have your flash on Poppy. That's what you're missing, but you don't really need that to get in if you're playing correctly. Flares.
Alex is the engage tool.
Yeah, Alex has the TP, so Alex can... Oh. Let's see here. Everybody hanging out in the bush with a pink ward.
Recalling there. Yeah, Trance facing in towards the Baron, but there was already a ward on the Baron itself. Thankfully for himself, lives, but I believe he had a flash way to survive that one, so that is now extra missing summoner. Ember playing the Baron bait pretty well. And yeah, forcing TDK away. Alex did finally stay in the right-hand side lane. He's getting a lot of damage on that turret. It's getting unanswered. The Baron bait got a flash, but they're going to lose a turret for it.
Are they going to take the bait again? Kez walking up.
And they get the ward onto that one. A lot of damage down, and Kez having to run away. Now ulti popped into OQ. Will the team collapse in time to go for this one? This Caitlyn is going to be safe. Flares does not get rooted either. Runs faster than Karma can slow her.
Alex went back, so he had home guard with TP. So that's why Ember didn't continue even harder, because they did have flashes up. You could have had the flash root from solo, but decides not to go for it.
Definitely some scary stuff here. Bakings of what I believe to be loot is actually coming up next for Golden Glue, so that will increase his poke damage quite a lot. Yeah, Golden Glue lands an RQ on someone, they're going to half health if they're not a tank. There is some real poke damage here, and it is, again, alongside an Ezreal, so I think it's a very complicated matter. I agree with you that the sort of DPS is going to start going down to the Ember side of things, but they've got a hell of a lot of poke.
Yeah, they have poke, and they definitely have durability. Of course, Blue Ezreal is one of the most durable AD carries, too.
It's durability against their DPS versus their durability against yours.
Yeah.
It's hard to really equate because you have Braum and Nautilus and a Karma against really just a Poppy with the China Shield.
Nautilus gives you a lot. And you know what I'm very surprised by is there's no Zirene portals. Then there's no banners in this game.
Oh, man. Well, there were banners. That was the beginning of Champ Select.
True. Got me there.
That was lame.
Got me there.
Actually, I don't think they have banners in the base either. As they're not LCS teams, they don't have those built into the client.
Well, that's what they're fighting for.
Yeah, it's true.
You win this, you're in promotion tournament, you're one step closer to getting your banner.
That's true. Abyssal Scepter being added next item for Kez. So weirdly, Kez is going for a DPS build. Or, Flare. Yeah, Flare's not really going to die, though. It's going to be really hard to knock down this Poppy with no real lockdown outside of a Nautilus. And as you mentioned, the sort of low damage composition, even Nautilus lockdown will not kill a Poppy. There's not enough damage here. Hanker Toss is going to land. Bit of damage on the Flares down to half. Oh! Knocks them away, and now Golden Glue and Lod are alone. Look at the damage on the Flares, though. Nearly goes down. Will survive it. Lod jumps forward. root onto Santorin, the stun as well, and Alex has to self-Zonia's, but he's completely alone. He's gonna go down. He went in, no one else did. Huge misplay by TDK.
Yeah, they were completely zoned off, and that was big. Flair's got a 3-man Poppy ultimate. At that point, you should be able to collapse on those 2 members who were right, but nobody was in position. They've tried this 2 times now. TDK are saying, okay, they're grouped up as 5. Let's counter them by coming in from 3 different angles. It's not working out.
Well enough. Well, wards over the wall, 5v4, anchor toss misses. Alex is dead, he has teleport, and he's alive in 25 seconds. Poke going back and forth, stunt is low, a lot of damage from OQ, they push in. They're trying to kill Flares, but this is the tank on the team. How long will it take them? Stunt nearly dead, goes down to Flares as a trade kill, support for the enemy top laner. 1-for-1 TDK.
They did stop Baron though, so they stop a little bit of the bleeding, and they sacrifice 1 person to do so they don't lose a whole lot. That was really strange, though, because that was another example of off on the side. Kez, as Elise, is just throwing out W's and Q's and not really jumping in, not really giving OQ a frontliner to get behind. Because if Flares and Kez are both in the front, kind of doing damage to the tanks, you definitely enable the AD carry to do so. If the jungler is standing with you as the AD carry, you don't feel that safe.
Nope.
Well, it depends on the jungler.
If they're kindred, maybe.
Yeah, just watch this. So Kez runs off to the side. Okay, he knows he's being chased, and then right here, OQ's not really getting too many shots off, and Kez walks up, clears the ward, then walks away, then to walk back in. So they just get zoned, Flares runs up, and then the nice ultimate there from Stunt. So Stunt had a really good ultimate there for the zoning. Stopped OQ from just walking up and being able to finish everybody, and they basically said, give us a moment, we're going to go finish Flares, we'll deal with you later.
Yep. And
then everybody just backed off. Just not patient enough.
Yep, sadly not, but it does mean it's a 6-for-6 in this game. 700 gold difference. I think, honestly, a closer game than many would have expected,
good,
especially considering all the TDK roster changes. Of course, they think they are upgrades. Bishu is still on that roster. Do It and Ty are still on the roster. So you can consider Alex and Trance straight upgrades. Flares for Seraph was an actual trade, and right now TDK holding pace with Ember. They've played with Santorin for a couple of weeks now. They've had some decent practice ever since the end of the regular season, so roughly 2 weeks if you consider it roughly that amount of time. Santorin 0-1-5 isn't doing badly, just Ember are not able to really push any farther forward in this game, that they were winning pretty substantially early on. TDK looking for a play, but empowered Karma Shield gets the team right back out.
This middle turret is what TDK have been trying to take for so long. They just keep trying to shove up mid. OQ, if he can get some trap lines down. Cut off, there we go.
Yeah.
Make him walk all the way around.
Feels like Ember are really getting lost in rotations, though. Bot lane had a double wave crash into the inhibitor turret. Mid lane's gone as well. These Baron baits are not working for Ember. They've tried 4 times, and they've not got anything really good out of them. Whoa. Losing turrets every single time. Stunt getting stunned up. Fair bit of damage there. Anchor Dash just barely gets Trance. And are you ready for him going down already? Alex holding up in the front line. Self-ulti buys quite a bit of time. Not until the end of the back line. Knocks up OQ, but not before he kills off the Braum. Alex traded back as well. Santorin staying alive. Pops the rest, but now into OQ they go. And Log gets the kill. Santorin heals up. Kites away from Flares. Last 2 alive for TDK are Kez and the top laner Flares. 4v2 means Baron.
And we were talking about durability versus damage. And of course the durability comes up huge. Nautilus just soaks so much, and solo doesn't look too worse for wear either. And that's the thing, is everybody starts focusing him, and then it becomes split targeting halfway through the fight. Trance though, or Flares.
Miscommunication, Ember and Santorin were, Solo and Santorin were hitting the Baron as the team peeled back for Flares. Now they finally pulled all their brunt forward. Missed Mystic Shot, but he's still gonna get the kill. Laud is now dominating, 10-7 in kills. Flares dies for basically nothing. Once again onto Baron they go. Santorin is still empowered by Mav Malmortius, life-stealing as he goes. A lot of attack speed. They will be knocking this one down with no contest at all. Kez just recalled away. Flares honestly dying for free. Baron taken over by Ember.
Yeah, he wanted to reset it and buy enough time. And Flares on this Poppy. Oh, choosing the engages is very important. And he's just taking everyone that he sees. Right here, Stunt W's forward, tries to get an engage, and then it's the hook onto Trance here from Solo. I think this Nautilus pick is just so strong, and I'm very surprised it wasn't first picked away. And Trance pops his ultimate, still goes down though. And OQ, he gets the Nautilus ultimate onto him, so he gets zoned out for a bit.
Far back
stop. Yeah, Flares is like, okay, well I've been focused every fight.
You should be.
What do I do now?
Why was he behind Alex?
Exactly. Yeah, Flares is just backing up, and he just seems a little scarred from what's been happening over and over again. But of course, sieging becomes a little rough. OQ adapted his build to pick up a quick last whisper when he realized he hits Nautilus for pretty much nothing.
Yeah, I, by the way, hate Bloodthirster third. I don't know why OQ's even going for that item right now. The fact that he has a BF sword, I think, is just completely wrong.
It might be Mercurial. I don't know.
It doesn't build into that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's pickaxe now.
Think he's pickaxe.
You should never have a second BF sword this early as any AD carry that's not building an SS3 for third. Like, basically, if you're not Sivir, you should not have a second BF sword before your fourth item. That is the only champion that should have 2 BF sword items. Better. Moving in now, bottom tier 2 taking a lot of damage. Stunt puts the shield up, blocks some of the wave clear. And of course, with Baron buff, it's not too hard to keep sieging, whether you're against a Caitlyn or not. You just kind of muscle through all of it. Yeah, good luck dealing with this front line.
Yeah.
Ember walking forward, becoming a wildfire as they shove farther and farther down this bottom lane. Traps again up for OQ, but yeah, they don't do damage to these champions. 3 cannons puffed up by the Baron.
Get him away!
Knocked away back into the jungle. And they will slowly rejoin. Once again growing. They got their Wheaties once again, being nearby Ember. Solo tanks the turret, does not seem to care. Good wave clear by Alex, knocks out 2 of the cannons. The final one will go down.
Oh my god.
Solo actually ignores headshot damage through his shield.
Nautilus is broken.
Still not taking actual damage. He's got more gray health than a Tom Kench.
Oh my god. I can't even complain because I play him top.
Yeah.
He's so strong. It's Honey Badger. Look at this.
Solo actually taking a turret. Still has not actually lost part of his health bar.
I think this Nautilus pick needs to be first picked by TDK. I just think that's what needs to happen. Poppy pick, I understand it, but I don't understand what you give up for.
Oh, Kaz is squishy and low on health, repels up and will be next on the frying pan. Jump in for Santorin, will not quite kill him, has to flash away. Into the back line goes Alex, but he gets popped, doing basically nothing. Zhonya's and ulti were still up for him, and he did not hit those buttons. OQ goes down as well. That's already 3 kills picked up. The last 2 should be just simply easy now for Ember. This will be a game 1 victory for them. I can't see it going any other way at this point. They've got a minion wave in this bottom lane. They should be able to close the game out with this one. 40-second death timer still in, 36 minutes in. 2 cannon minions. Solo is tanky. He will just not reduce his health bar under these turrets. This will be game 1. It's a best of 5. They're still going to do it at least 2 more times here, but Ember are starting off well on the road to the LCS promotion tournament.
Ember coming up big there. They do have a new member with Santorin, so a little bit of a rocky road there in the start of the game. And then that mid-game definitely was a little stagnant, but they played to their composition's strengths. They kept going back and forth between Baron, thinking like Karma movement speed with the pick of Nautilus will be enough to catch out TDK.
Yeah.
And it was
real shaky.
They were trying. That's the thing. Is you tried, and I don't actually fault them too much for that because at least they were being active and they were trying to make something happen because they knew that they could force the issue. It's just TDK never bit, and they never actually went with, oh, we're baiting. Now we're actually doing the event.
TDK would just stop them properly. Like, bot lane just continually
go
pushing
straight through mid and stuff.
Alex Itch killed bot lane tier 2 because of one of the Baron baits, and nothing bad happened aside from a Janna flash. Like, whatever. Mid lane Outer got killed for another Baron bait. Like, TDK were reacting to the Baron baits very well. Honestly, they were down 1,600 gold when everyone was like level 5 because of the level 1 start, because Santorin got 3 jungle quadrants. Kez got part of 1 because Krugs were stolen. Like, I don't envy Kez's position here in this game. And TDK clawed back into a lead, which is super solid by them. And I have to applaud how well their early game went because they came back from a large deficit.
Yeah.
But
oh, go ahead.
That last team fight was catastrophically bad.
Yeah. The Alex jumping in and not using ultimate or Zhonya's, of course,
The
you
last
do get
fight,
locked up. You do end up getting outplayed a little bit there. So I do think
and
that
the one leading into Baron was terrible as well. Flares was behind, like Alex got in, self-ulted, and Flares was behind him. Then Alex hit Zhonya's, and Flares was still behind him.
Yeah, I think the big problem here for TDK wasn't so much like, oh, their map movements are bad, right? They're playing well. We saw Alex being able to split push. We saw the dive in the top lane that gave him an advantage when they were saying, okay, Santorin's on the other side of the jungle. Let's be proactive here. The problem with TDK is they're just taking everything they see as a possible opportunity. They're fighting when they're at disadvantages. They're fighting when they're saying, okay, go. But not everybody's actually on the same page, right? They're flanking from 3 different angles, and flanking takes time to get down with other members because it always happens with me as well. You join a team and you just go like, okay, I didn't know that when you ping, that means
you're going literally now.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Or it means you're going to be going, wait for it.
Exactly. So it's like, do I go now? Do I go in 3 seconds? Because some people ping ahead of time. Some people say now. And what they're doing is they're not on the same page.
Yeah.
Those engages, start them off a little bit better. You might be able to run away with a victory there. But it was definitely very sloppy there, and it seemed like they lost focus.
Yeah, I mean, TDK definitely with less time to play with this roster than Ember has had. And again, Ember knew coming in, like, they were going to need a replacement for contracts. They chose to get the replacement for the playoffs opposed to the promo tournament, which I think was a good choice. And then, yeah, came in with still formers the same. TDK, really revamped roster. Okay, yes, Flares and Alex have played together. Okay, yes, OQ and Kez still in the lineup. Like, there's elements here that are unchanged, but now it's an English-speaking team. Right now, Kez shot calls in a different language than he did 2 weeks ago. Like that's the level of different this team is now, right? Like that is a tough hill to climb over. And TDK had a good early to mid game despite those issues. I think they can absolutely win the next one, but again, actual intricate, tough decision team fights went bad. Some bad choices happened, and Ember capitalized on them. That's what it comes down to me.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to see change here in Champion Select, just going all the way back to that.
Sure.
Because we're talking about bad choices, right? I think
not picking Nautilus.
I think Nautilus is first pick worthy. I think you just pick that pretty much right off the bat, and you're going to be able. So eventually you'll put Ember in a situation where they have to ban Nautilus and use a ban on that. Because your blue side every single game is TDK.
Yeah.
You first pick Nautilus every single time. There really isn't a gigantic answer for it just yet in terms of Champion Select. You can outplay it in the game, but you really want to set yourself up for success.
And he's just the most successful top laner right now.
Exactly.
Seems like you can build a comps around him.
But I do think that Golden Glue may get a better counter pick later on. Because this wasn't really a counter pick with the Karma. It was more of a
he laned equally
pick,
to him. Yeah, he laned equally to him. You know, he got the shields out. That front line never died.
Yep.
The end game score for Solo was 1-0 and 12. He was part of 13 of the 14 kills. Like, he didn't die. He certainly was part of everything. I mean, plenty of farm on him, too, honestly. Got more than the 80 carry Laud did. So that all went well. And Santorin just ran around the jungle farming all game. Like, all of that early gold lead was Santorin getting way more jungle farm. He got really big on that Kindred. I don't know if he really even died much either. You know, those backliners did work. For Ember, it worked. And you know, better teams can beat these teams, and worse teams will lose to them regardless of the champions they do. Honestly, these are, I think, reasonably well-matched teams, and I think Champs League becomes a very important factor in this one. If they want to keep saying Santorin, you're one of our big threats, if that's the Ember way, that's the Ember way. If they think that's what's going to work for them, then they can keep doing that, and if it works, then good for them.
Yeah, I think that what's going to slowly happen is with the Nautilus being picked up by TDK, which I assume will happen, then you start putting Solo on something that might be able to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, sure.
Just avoid the Nautilus a little bit. And then that allows Santorin to go for tankiness. Or you go too tanky, you go Golden Glue and Laud as your threats. So Santorin, he did farm a lot. He actually did less damage than the Nautilus, but of course Nautilus does a lot of damage to champions. Nautilus did like more damage than like four actual DPS champions in this game. I think it's three or four. It's like 1 on his own team and 2 on the other team. So it's very, very deceptive how much damage he does.
He was brawling Poppy most of that game. Right? Like, AD carries don't get a lot of damage to champions in the laning phase typically. Top laners get a lot of damage to champions in the laning phase. Because they take a lot of punishment. They chug their corrupting potions. They heal with Grasp of the Undying. By the way, if you trade on someone with Grasp of the Undying, both your health bars go up, and both you have more damage to champions dealt now.
Yep.
Right? So, like, it's it's deceptive sometimes.
You know what's just a random aside here about Grasp of the Undying is one of the reasons I love Bomby Cinder so much is because you don't have to use auto attacks to start stacking it. You just walk into you walk into the minion wave, and if the guy will sometimes throw an auto attack at you, and you're just like, whoa, you hit him back, and you're like, okay, my auto attack timer wasn't used on a minion. Because I exploit people where they attack a minion, and I'm like, oh, I got you with Grasp.
I hit you with Grasp and
run
walk away.
Exactly. Yeah. So Bomby Cinder is just really great for that, and people will get that, and then they'll start going Zrot Portal, which I think is an optimal build because you get both resistances and HP. Like, what's not to like about that, as well as movement speed.
Yeah.
So.
And then there's ways to abuse it, like champions that are really good with Grasp, like Gangplank or Poppy, where they have ranged autos to spend at you and go, ha, I'm a jerk, you suck. It's like, I've played against a lot of Grasp of the Undying Ezreals. Not commonly, but like a lot will do it because it's so easy to apply. I don't think it's optimal in like 5-on-5 play, but like you'll just see people like use the Keystone because of how easy it is to apply. It's like, okay, I understand the logic here.
Yeah,
I would still take Fervor.
I think at IEM we saw a Corki with it.
Oh, really? I did not see that one.
I believe so.
Okay.
I'll look it up for you afterwards.
I trust. You know what,
maybe I'm wrong.
I trust you.
I heard about it.
You heard it? Great.
I heard about it.
On the internet?
Yeah.
That's trustworthy.
Nobody lies on the internet.
Never. So you know what? That's completely verified information. We could put it on Wikipedia because that's always right as well. And source it for your college papers, guys.
Oh yeah.
Grasp of the Undying Corki was a thing.
That's the thing. Of course, don't cite Wikipedia as your source.
Cite
the Wikipedia sources as your source.
Yeah, it's really easy. It requires you 30 seconds more effort to scroll down. There's a little like, one in brackets up there. Click that. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Cool. Yeah, like obviously, just in case you need some help getting through high school or college, that's how you source your papers.
I mean, it's Professor Kobe, but it's like,
yeah,
come on, we're like,
but I mean, we went to school too.
Yeah,
we know the tricks of the trade. We're not that old.
We're helping you guys out.
Yeah.
If you're in any of those college classes, the Wikipedia sources.
Sometimes young enough to go to school with Wikipedia still being a thing.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. At
a certain point, there's going to be something that like, the high schoolers will be a part of that we never lived, and we're just going to be out of the loop. It's hard work being almost 30 and having to learn about things like On Fleek.
Man, my birthday was like 3 days ago.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you're like 3 years younger than me, so
yeah,
it's not too bad for you.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I'm closer to 30 than I am.
I turn 30 next year.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you this, but there's like the next generation is not going to know what it's like to push a VHS into a VCR.
And they won't know about dial-up. No one knows about DOS anymore. Because I was like real young using DOS. Like I was like ahead of the curve because my family's a bunch of tech nerds. Yep. But like, yeah, everyone's been using Windows or Linux or whatever or Mac, and no, I use DOS. I'm that hardcore.
Apple IIe, man.